had a really good first practice for our start of FIU preparation, so really encouraged by our guys' focus and work today. Want to start by saying that we're going to announce that Peyton Ramsey is going to be our starting quarterback to start the season, and really excited for him. He's a young man that as we go through this process, I've been pretty clear what we're looking for. And bottom line is that there's three things that our staff and I talked about that we want from this position and what we're looking for throughout this competition. That is, first of all, I want a quarterback that protects the football in his decision making. That's how he reads coverages, how he distributes the ball, how he protects the football. That was number one. Number two was the ability to move the team down the field consistently throughout those opportunities, whether it was scrimmages or team or those times throughout practice. And number three, want a young man that the team believes in, and that's very, very important to me. And we go through and we selected our leadership council earlier in fall camp. He was our leading vote getter by a landslide, and not that that's just a primary thing, but it obviously means a lot. And we as a coaching staff are very transparent about a lot of things, and we've talked about this. Our entire staff is in agreement that Peyton's the guy. And so, and I think our team, really sees that as well. But also at the same time, we got two other quarterbacks that I'm really excited about. I think they both have a lot of talent, and I think both of those guys bring unique skills to the table. Brandon Dawkins, tremendously athletic and very, very good runner, throws the ball well on the move, creates a lot of issues, and he's gotten better and better throughout fall camp, without question. And I met with all three boys yesterday and talked to them about all these same things, and really encouraged about his progress and feel like he's going to be able to help the football team win ball games. And he's got a great mindset about that. And then Michael Penix, obviously you see what I see out there, and a very special player. But he's young, and so to help him build and help him grow, I think it's the best decision for all three individuals. It's what's best for our team. And so the bottom line is that I believe all three of those guys are going to play at different times. I'm not going to put specifics on that, but I do expect all three of them to play. And but Peyton Ramsey's the starter.
What do you think it is? I guess I know the offense is going to be basically the same for all three guys, but what do you feel like are maybe the strengths that will be accentuated in the offense for Peyton specifically?
I just think that it's the combination of those three things I said. He has the lead in the collective group, and I feel like that he understands the offense really, really well. He knows where to put the football. He knows where to take the ball. He knows who to get the ball to. He has the ability to get us out of a jam with his legs. He has the ability to get first downs with his legs. He's got unbelievable toughness and grit. He's got a competitive greatness to him that I really like a lot and have. That's why I saw what he did last year. And obviously he got hurt and that shorted some of that. But those things, he has gotten himself in position to be able to get the ball down the field better this year. I think that to me, it's about getting the ball to our playmakers on offense, and he's one of those playmakers. But distributing it to the right guys at the right time is what he does best, and I think that that's what kind of pushed him ahead of the other guys.
How much do you think bringing in an experienced guy, allowed him to dig his heels in and kind of fight for that job?
Oh, there's no question. He's a competitor now, and he doesn't. He's not a real emotional guy. Even when I told him, he didn't like get up and, get fist pump or anything, but he was very calm and but at the same time, I think that competition makes everybody better, and he knew that he had to improve, and he worked his absolute tail off all summer long, knowing that Michael Penix was chasing him, and then knowing that we were bringing in Brandon Dawkins and that he would come in here with a lot of experience. And so, and I told Peyton too, I said, he's got to continue to get better and lead our team and help us win football games, so that's part of the job, so it's he understands what's going on. And I think that he's one of those guys where those kinds of situations pull his best out of him, because he's so focused and he's such a student of the game. I think that to me is what really sets him apart. He's got a toughness to him and a grit to him that is pretty unique and special. He's got a linebacker mentality, playing a quarterback position.
Have you guys talked about with Brandon Dawkins, his ability to run the ball, maybe putting some kind of a package for him in certain parts of the game?
I see that. I do, and we talked about it with him yesterday. And as that grows and as he executes, I think those are things that for sure You know, it's not a rotational type thing, but it's you know, I can see a package for him for sure in the future, and we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, he's got some things he brings to the table that puts a lot of pressure on the defense for sure.
Did any of the guys make this easy on you by falling behind or showing you something, or did they all three compete pretty well?
No, they all competed well. I thought it was really hard. It was a tough decision, and there were times where different ones throughout the course of camp, you know, you felt different ways, you know, after certain practices or scrimmages, but there was a constant that kept coming back, you know, and to me, it's just about what's best, right? At this stage of where we're at right now, this is what's best, I believe, without a doubt. And but yeah, it was one of those competitive, tough, you know, guys, different days, guys are playing different, you know, levels, and maybe this guy does this or this guy doesn't, and so, but the consistency there was with Peyton.
With the 4-game rule, I mean, do you have an idea in your mind how you might want to use that with Michael, or do you want to be flexible? I know you said you want to maybe make sure you're not in a situation at the end of a season where
yeah,
you do,
games. But yeah, I think that that excites me a lot, you know, with him. And I think it even kind of made the decision in some ways too, you know, gave us some flexibility for sure, unlike in the past. And so I feel like that yeah, there's always, you know, you'd love to be able to have something in your back pocket late in the year, but at the same time, you know, I would like to be able to give him some opportunities earlier as well. I mean, you got 4 games, you know, so it gives you several to pick from. But just to kind of see how he handles all that, you know. So, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him early.
Have you made any other decisions, you know, kicker, middle linebacker, some of the other positions that, you know, need to be sorted out a bit?
You know, we have in some ways. We're going to kind of probably finalize those on Monday, you know, and we'll put out our depth chart on Monday, and that'll kind of give, I think, closure to some of that. I still feel like, you know, even today with kickers, we did some things trying to create pressure on them and see who rises up. That's still a very competitive position. You know, my linebacker's getting a little more clear. But just to be able to, more than anything, is who's going to be the next guy at each position and how we're training those guys is getting more clear as we get into game week prep. And today's practice was focused on FIU and their looks. And so that'll be announced on Monday.
Peyton's visibly bigger. I mean, how much physically is, you know, his work in the weight room helped him?
It has. There's no question. I mean, it just creates confidence, you know, and he looks a year older. He's gained good weight, and he's stronger. He's a step faster, and I just think that gives him confidence to be, you know, Big Ten quarterback that's going to get hit a few times, you know. So I think that's always a positive thing. But I think those kind of things just give you core confidence that you know that you're a better athlete than you were the year before, and I think that it just kind of he's a much better player than he was last year, in my opinion. So, but that's just got to, you know, he's got to continue to show that. And now, what happens now is you do that in practice, and you know the thing about him and Brandon, they've done it in games before, whereas Michael has not. And so those guys, to me, just got to take that same elevation of their play and move it into Saturday performance, and that's what we expect.
Any specifics? You know, is there going to be like a package for Brandon that you might deploy, you know, occasionally, something like that?
I would say so. I don't want to give away too many things, but I just feel like that when you got guys like, you know, obviously he's not in a situation with worrying about red shirts or anything like that, and so you're just going to have, based on who we're playing and what they do and what we feel like we can maximize with his talents and take advantage of it. And so it's just neat to have a group of guys that are unselfish, guys that really have bought into to LEO and what we're all about here, you know, as a program. And it isn't about each one of those guys. It's about this football team, and it's about what's best. And so we got 3 guys who I believe can play very good football on Saturdays. So we'll see how the season plays out, you know, how that unfolds completely. But the bottom line is that you got some options.
As you exit preseason and start getting into the formal idea of game week, any long-term health concerns anywhere?
No, that's one good thing. You know, we've had a couple guys that will be, you know, out for a few weeks, you know, and I think that, but we don't have any, you know, last year at this time we had some guys already that we had lost for the season, and fortunately that's not been the case, you know, so hopefully we'll get those other guys back as efficiently as possible. But no, it's been, actually, you know, had a meeting yesterday with a couple of our doctors and trainers, and I feel like that as a collective group did some good things in helping prevent some issues, and feel like we're in better shape physically than we've been numbers-wise, you know, in the last couple of years.
Is Ryan Watercutter one of those guys?
He is one of those guys, you know, so he's out there in a boot, and so that's just going to take some time to He's probably the longest guy that we have to worry about getting back at this point.
In terms of making the decision, obviously it seemed like you guys took a pretty holistic approach, looking at big body work. Was there any moment for you that maybe stuck out with Peyton, whether it was in scrimmage or anything like that?
No, I really, I'm one of those guys. I'm pretty deliberate, and don't want to be knee-jerk reaction kind of person. It's too important of a decision. So, to me, it was really looking at the big picture, and both in how you pick the person, and then number two, moving forward, how you see it unfolded. So, I think that you got, a situation where we wouldn't be very, very thorough, and we talked a lot of the staff, and I wanted consensus. I wanted to be, I believe in trusting the opinions of the guys that we have on our staff, and really it was very consistent along the way, and we're definitely all on board.
You got the preseason game, or at least that's how you described it in the past. What are some things that you kind of hope to get out of that third scrimmage?
Yeah, that's a big one for situations. We're going to literally go through the entire, that's what I call it. This is preseason game number 3, but it's a mock game. Okay, and so we'll go through and we'll script the rotation as we take the field by return units, specialists, different guys that come out when they come out. It won't have to be as long. We'll go through every single one of those, do the exact warm up, just like a game. We'll do a kickoff, and just everything, and there won't be as long of a drive, but every situation we scripted. And we even script takeaways, how we handle that. We script set and change. We script, all the things that can happen in a game situation. So it won't be in full pads. It'll be a spiders practice, helmets only. And so a lot of good energy to be on Saturday night, exact same time we're going to kick off down there in Miami. So everything's going to be simulated exactly like the game. And then the pregame, meal, meetings before that, everything like that. So very important part of the process to get situations, flushed out and ironed out and worked through. But there won't be any tackling, no live plays. All right,
Thanks.
great. Adios.